Commander Susan Miller looked at the ancient warning beacon floating in the darkness of space. Its surface was engraved with symbols in hundreds of different languages, some of which even the ship's advanced translation systems could not identify. But the message was always the same. Danger. Dormant predators. Do not disturb. How old are you? She asked, without taking her eyes off the monitor. Scientific Officer Paul Davis checked his readings again. At least 10,000 years, Commander. And he's not the only one. We detected a network of these lighthouses forming a border around this entire sector. Susan frowned. In her 15 years serving the Galactic Council, she had never encountered anything like this. Warning beacons were not uncommon in space. They marked everything from radiation hazards to protected cultural sites, but such a long border was unprecedented. Are there records about this region in the municipal archives? She asked. Communications expert Kate Brown shook her head. Nothing specific, Commander. This area has been classified as unexplored on all official star maps. It's as if someone deliberately avoided it. The Asterisk Curiosity research vessel only found the border by accident. They were mapping gravitational anomalies in this remote area of space when their sensors detected the first beacon. The face of Admiral John Clark appeared on the main screen with a stern expression. Commander Miller, report your findings. Susan straightened up. Admiral, we have discovered what appears to be a quarantine zone. Ancient warning beacons surround a region containing approximately 50 star systems. The warnings are explicit about not disturbing what's inside. Any indication of what these dormant predators could be? The Admiral asked. No, sir. We would need to cross the border to investigate further. The alien diplomat next to Admiral Clark stepped forward. The Zixler representative's translucent skin pulsed with worried colors. I must advise against this action. Many species have legends about regions of space that should not be disturbed. If these warnings have survived for 10 millennia, there must be a reason. Admiral Clark waved a dismissive hand. Superstitions and ghost stories, Ambassador. The Galactic Council's mandate is to explore and catalog all regions under our jurisdiction. He turned to Susan. Commander Miller, you are authorized to proceed with caution. Cross the border and investigate, but remain alert. Yes, sir, Susan replied, as she noticed the diplomat's skin turning purple in alarm. After the broadcast ended, First Officer Greg Warren approached her. Orders, Commander. Susan took a deep breath and charted a course across the border. Minimum speed. Passive sensors only. Let's see what got everyone so nervous. The Asterisk of Curiosity cautiously passed the line of warning lights. For 3 days, they found nothing unusual. Just empty star systems and lifeless planets. Then, on the 4th day, they detected it. Commander, I'm picking up signals from the 3rd planet in this system. Kate reported, her voice rising with excitement. Artificial structures, signatures of power, are inhabited. Or it was, Paul added, studying his console. Most wattage readings are minimal. Maintenance levels only. But the technology is advanced, possibly level 8 or 9. Susan felt a shiver. The Galactic Council itself has only reached technological level 7. Signs of life. Paul adjusted his instruments. Billions of them. But strange. They are in some kind of suspended animation. The entire planet is covered in stasis fields. The main screen showed an image of a blue-green world, its surface dotted with geometric city patterns. It was beautiful, immaculate, and complete. Extremely silent. I found something on the orbital satellites. Kate said, they're still working. Broadcasting a message repeatedly. It's in a language I don't recognize, but the translation matrix is working on it. Minutes later, the message appeared on the screen, and the bridge crew fell silent as they read it. This is Earth, humanity's home. Planet. Our species has entered the great sleep while our world heals. We will awaken when the time is right. This system is protected by automated defenses. Do not try to interfere with the sleeping population. Final warning. Humanity must not be disturbed. The consequences will be serious. Susan looked down at the planet below, now understanding exactly what the ancient lighthouses were warning about. Call Admiral Clark, she said calmly. Tell him we found the sleeping predators. The research vessel hovered in Earth's orbit, careful to keep its distance from the automated defense satellites that circled the planet like silent guardians. For 3 days, the crew of the Asterisk Curiosity scanned, observed, and recorded everything they could about the sleeping world below. Stasis technology is unlike anything in our database, Paul Davis said, showing Susan the latest readings. It's not just about preserving them. It's keeping them in a state of perfect suspension. No aging, no degradation. They could stay like this for another 10,000 years. Susan looked at the images of human cities. They were clean, orderly, and completely empty on the surface. Scans showed that humans themselves were housed in vast underground complexes, each containing millions of sleeping bodies. "And you're sure no one is awake?" she asked. "Just maintenance systems and defense protocols," Kate Brown responded. "From what we can tell from the satellite data, they entered this great sleep voluntarily. Its historical records indicate serious environmental damage and resource depletion. They chose to sleep while automated systems repaired their planet." Lieutenant Lisa Mitchell, an engineering specialist, looked up from the console. "Commander, I have identified what appears to be a primary control facility near the north of the continent. If we wanted to learn more about their awakening protocols, this would be the place." Susan hesitated. Admiral Clark ordered them to gather information and not interfere. But the Admiral wasn't here, seeing what they saw, a civilization with technology beyond anything the Council possessed. "We'll send a probe," she decided. No direct intervention. The small probe descended through Earth's atmosphere, guided remotely by Lisa. He landed near a huge structure built into the side of a mountain, its entrance closed by doors of unknown material. When detecting minimal security measures, Lisa reported, "It's like they never expected anyone to find them." The probe approached the entrance, its sensors scanning the strange symbols on the doors. Suddenly, a beam of light shoots out from an invisible source, scanning the probe. "He's trying to identify us," Paul warned. "Should we abort?" Before Susan could respond, the doors opened silently. "There, inviting us in," Kate wondered. The probe entered a vast hall filled with dormant control stations. In the center was a holographic projector that activated as the probe approached. A human figure appeared, a man wearing what appeared to be a military uniform. "Greetings," said the hologram in perfect galactic pattern. "This is an automated response to non-human contact. If you are receiving this message, you discovered Earth during the Great Sleep." The crew watched in stunned silence as the hologram continued. "Humanity entered voluntary stasis 2,763 years ago. Our world was dying. We chose to sleep while the disease healed rather than fight wars over scarce resources. Awakening protocols are automated and linked to planetary conditions. We estimate full restoration within the next 1,200 years." The hologram's expression became stern. "Attention, any attempt to interfere with human sleep will trigger immediate defensive measures. This includes forced awakening from any stasis chamber. Our defense systems remain fully operational and will respond with maximum force to any threat." Greg Warren frowned. "They are completely defenseless if anyone wants to take advantage." "That's why they have defenses," Susan reminded him. "And the alerts across the industry." The hologram continued. "If your intentions are peaceful, we welcome future contact when humanity awakens. A small diplomatic team can be called to speak with you if necessary. To request this option, go to Terminal 7 and identify your species." Lisa directed the probe towards the mentioned terminal. "Commander," Susan struggled for a moment. "No, we just watched. Admiral Clark needs this information before we take any further action." As the probe retreated from the facility, Greg approached Susan. "Commander, the Council could benefit greatly from this technology. Think about it. Perfect stasis fields could revolutionize long-distance space travel." "That's not our decision," Susan replied firmly. Later that night, while the rest of the crew slept, Greg Warren sent a private transmission to certain members of the Galactic Council, those who would appreciate the value of what they found and who would not be concerned with ancient warnings or dormant predators. "I discovered something that will change everything." His message began, a defenseless civilization with level 9 technology, certain for the taking. In the void of space, the warning beacons continued their silent vigil, unaware that their message had already been ignored. The great chamber of the Galactic Council was buzzing with lively conversation. Delegates from 100 different worlds leaned forward in their seats as Admiral John Clark presented discoveries from Earth. Behind him, huge screens showed images of sleeping human cities and their advanced technology. "As you can see," concluded the Admiral, "this represents an unprecedented opportunity. A civilization with technology far beyond ours, currently in a state of impotence. We can study its achievements and adapt them for our own purposes. Chancellor Vecturian, the squid-like leader of the council, raised one of his tentacles. And those warnings? Lighthouses placed around your territory. Admiral Clark waved dismissively. Primitive precautions from a bygone era. Our analysis suggests that humans have no way of detecting our presence if we proceed carefully. At the back of the chamber, Commander Susan Miller watched with increasing uneasiness. She was called to give evidence, but was largely ignored following Greg Warren's detailed report. Now she has taken a step forward. Chancellor, with all due respect, the warnings were clear. Humans have automated defense systems that will activate if we disturb them. We should establish a quarantine until they awaken naturally. Greg Warren quickly intervened. Commander Miller's concerns are noted, but exaggerated. Our technical analysis shows that we can bypass your security systems. We don't need to wake them up at all. Just study your technology while you sleep. Ambassador Zixler's skin displayed warning colors. My people have ancient stories about a violent species that once dominated this region of space. If these are the same beings, it would be wise to heed the warnings. The upper part of the co-chancellor Vecturian's body swayed as he considered. Politics weighed heavily on his mind. Those who controlled this advanced technology would have a tremendous advantage on the council. We will continue with colonization, he finally announced, but with caution. Just a research outpost. Minimum staff. No human should be awakened. He turned to Admiral Clark. You will supervise this personally. Susan tried again. Chancellor, I strongly advise against it. Your concerns are noted, Commander Miller. The Chancellor interrupted. You are relieved of this task. Admiral Clark will select a new team. 3 weeks later, the first colonization fleet arrived in Earth orbit. 12 ships carrying scientists, engineers, and security personnel. Your mission? Establish a research base and begin studying human technology. Lisa Mitchell watched from an observation window as the ships began landing procedures. After Susan's dismissal, Lisa was transferred to the colonial expedition because of her engineering experience. She didn't like it, but orders were orders. Impressive, isn't it? Greg Warren appeared beside her. Now promoted to colonial administrator, he proudly wore the insignia of his new rank. We are making history. Lisa didn't say anything, just nodding. She had a bad feeling about all this. The first research base was established in what was previously called North America, near one of the main stasis facilities. Teams worked around the clock to understand human technology without raising any alarms. Its power generation alone could revolutionize our fleet, said Chief Scientist Rulick, his antennae twitching with excitement as he studied the data. And in these stasis fields, the applications are endless. Administrator Warren walked around the base, pleased with the progress. What about security systems? Any problems? We are going around them carefully, said Security Chief Vincent. The main challenge is the integrated nature of your systems. Everything is connected. In the main laboratory, a team of scientists managed to access one of the smaller human facilities. Inside, they found row upon row of stasis pods, each containing the sleeping human. Look at this one, said a scientist, pointing to a cocoon with different markings. The uniform suggests military, and these readings indicate greater brain activity than the others. Can we just open this one? Asked another. Study a specimen closely. The security chief hesitated. Our orders are clear. Without waking up. We wouldn't wake him up. The scientist assured him. Just a quick exam, and then return to stasis. The system has manual overrides. They should have listened to the warnings. As they tried to override the pod's controls, an alarm began to sound, first low, then increasing in intensity. Red lights flashed throughout the facility. What is happening? Administrator Warren demanded, rushing into the lab. The security chief's face turned pale. They triggered something. The capsule. An awakening sequence is beginning. In his stasis capsule, Colonel Frank Harris's eyes opened for the first time in 2,763 years, and he was not happy about it. Colonel Frank Harris felt the burning sensation of oxygen filling his lungs for the first time in millennia. His mind quickly cleared. Military training began despite centuries of sleep. Stasis awakening protocols fed information directly into his brain, updating him on the situation. Intruders, alien life forms, unauthorized access to human facilities. He kept his eyes closed, listening to the panicked voices around him. Hang up. Someone was screaming. Put him back to sleep. I can't. The system is blocked. Are you activating or other pods in this section? Frank opened his eyes. 5 strange creatures stood around his cocoon, their appearance unlike anything in human records. Behind them, he could see more stasis pods lighting up, their status indicators changing from blue to green. The aliens froze when they saw him looking at them. Frank slowly prepared himself, his muscles working perfectly despite the long sleep. The capsule maintained its physical condition, preventing any atrophy. He was ready for combat. Identify yourselves, he said, his voice hoarse from disuse. The aliens looked at each other, clearly not expecting him to speak. One stepped forward, holding some sort of device. We are researchers from the Galactic Council, the alien said, the device translating his words. We don't want to do any harm. Frank noticed that the alien was wearing what looked like a gun on his waist. He also noticed that the stasis pods around him were in fact being activated. His team, Special Operations Unit 7, was waking up. You have violated Planetary Defense Directive 1, Frank said calmly, remembering the protocols established before the big sleep. This is considered an act of war. The alien looked confused. We are just studying your technology. We didn't want to wake you. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez was the next to wake up, with her pod in front of Frank's. Her eyes met his, and a silent communication passed between them. She was the unit's communications specialist. How many of your kind are there on Earth? Frank asked the alien. Approximately 300 researchers and security personnel, the alien responded. Please can we explain everything? Frank nodded to Olivia, who immediately accessed the pod's interface panel. His fingers moved quickly across the controls. What is she doing? One of the aliens demanded. Following protocol, Frank responded simply. Throughout the facility, more pods began to activate. Not just their unit now, but other military personnel housed in this compound, and Olivia wouldn't stop there. Security breach detected at Site 17, she announced. Awakening sequences initiated at all military installations worldwide. Emergency protocol storm has been activated. The aliens retreated, finally understanding the gravity of their mistake. You need to stop this, said the leader. We can reach an agreement. The council will compensate its people. Frank exited his capsule, standing up. There is no negotiation for planetary invasion. By this time, the rest of Unit 7 was awake. 12 elite soldiers trained for worst-case scenarios. Surgeon Steve Rogers acted to protect the weapons from the aliens, while Corporal Maria Rodriguez accessed the installation's defense systems. Colonel Maria shouted, I have access to the global network. The defense grid is online. Orbital weapons are tracking all alien ships. The alien leader's translation device failed to hide the panic in his voice. Please, there are innocent researchers here. We were told that their people were harmless. That was his first mistake, Frank said. Now tell me where your main base is located. Before the alien could respond, Olivia looked up from the console. Sir, upon receiving reports from other installations, General Alan Peterson has awakened his central command. He is implementing full storm protocols. Frank nodded. Protect these aliens. We are moving. Within an hour, all 37 military installations around the world had awakened their personnel. Automated defense systems, dormant but fully maintained for centuries, came online under human control. In orbit, the alien ships tried to escape, but Earth's defense network stopped them, disabling their engines with blasts of energy. Accurate. At the North American Command Center, General Alan Peterson reviewed the situation as reports came in. Thousands of military personnel were now awake, with millions more in the process of awakening. Begin civil awakening protocols, he ordered. Priority of personnel first. Government. Infrastructure. Doctor. He looked at the global map showing the points of alien intrusion. And prepare for an immediate counteroffensive. We are reclaiming our planet. Administrator Greg Warren looked at the security feeds in horror. What started as a simple investigative mission quickly turned into a nightmare. Across North America, human military forces emerged from their stasis facilities, fully armed and organized. We need to call for reinforcements, he told Admiral Clark over the emergency channel. They are waking up faster than we anticipated. The Chancellor has already dispatched the Third Fleet. Admiral Clark replied, his voice tight with stress. They will arrive in 6 days. Until then, evacuate all non-essential personnel to orbital platforms. Greg looked out the command center window. In the distance, He could see plumes of smoke rising from the research outposts that had already been overrun. "I don't think we have 6 days," he said calmly. In the American Military Command, Captain Eric Taylor studied the tactical display. Their strike teams had already recovered 3 major cities and 7 research outposts. The aliens had advanced technology, but they were not warriors. They did not expect resistance and certainly did not prepare for a coordinated military response. "Status report," General Peterson demanded, entering the command center. "Sir, we secure 40% of the North American territory," Eric replied. "Similar progress in Europe and Asia. Alien forces are retreating to fortified positions around their landing sites." General Peterson nodded, and our awakening progressed. 20 million military personnel are currently active around the world. The civil awakening began in safe zones, giving priority to infrastructure experts and medical personnel. The generals studied the global map. "What about your ships in orbit?" "Contained, but not neutralized. Our orbital defense network has trapped them, but they are calling for reinforcements." General Peterson's expression hardened. "So we need to be ready when those reinforcements arrive. Activate the Deep Space Monitoring Network and wake up Chief Strategist Diane Foster. We will need her experience." In the secure bunker beneath what was once the Rocky Mountains, Diane Foster reviewed data from the Alien Galactic Council. Military intelligence had been collecting information from captured aliens and their databases. "They have never faced anything like us," she told the assembled officers. "Their species evolved through cooperation, not conflict. Its technology is impressive, but its tactical thinking is limited." She pulled up a star map showing the approaching alien fleet. "They are sending warships, but they are predictable. They will emerge from faster-than-light travel here. This navigation point is where we will hit them." "With what?" someone asked. "Our fleet is still in storage." Diana smiled. "Not everything. High above Earth, hidden in the moon's shadow, the Sierra Orbital Defense Platform activated for the first time in millennia. It was one of 12 platforms, each housing a battery of long-range energy weapons designed specifically for space combat. Humans built them before the Big Sleep, strategically placing them throughout the solar system. On the platform, the newly awakened crew worked quickly to bring all systems online. Commander Linda Garcia checked the targeting systems one last time. "Hot weapons. Ready at your command of," she reported to Earth Command. 6 days later, the Galactic Council's Third Fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel, exactly where Diane had predicted. 30 warships, the pride of the Council's navy, prepared to rescue their research teams and teach the humans a lesson in humility. They never had a chance. The moment they appeared, all 12 defense platforms opened fire simultaneously, precisely aimed energy beams cutting through the alien shields as if they weren't there. Human weapons were beyond anything the Council had ever encountered before, the product of a species that evolved through constant warfare. On the Council's flagship, Admiral Zorn watched in disbelief as his fleet was systematically destroyed. "Impossible," he whispered. "They were supposed to be sleeping primitives." His communications officer turned to him, panic evident in his 4 eyes. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from Earth." On the screen, General Peterson appeared with a stern expression. "This is Earth's Defense Command from invading forces. Your fleet has been neutralized. Surrender immediately or face complete destruction." Admiral Zorn looked at the tactical display, showing the remains of his once proud fleet. Of the 30 ships, only 7 remained intact. "The Council will not accept this," he said defiantly. "The Council," General Peterson coolly replied, "should have respected the warnings." 1 month after the first human awakening, the Earth changed dramatically. Cities buzzed with activity as millions of civilians emerged from the doldrums every day. Advanced automated systems, maintained seamlessly throughout the long sleep, helped manage the transition. In what was once called Geneva, Unified Earth Command established its headquarters. There, military and civilian leaders met to plan humanity's next steps. "The immediate threat has been contained," General Peterson reported to the newly formed Defense Council. "All alien research bases have been captured, and the remaining ships in our orbit have surrendered." President Laura Bennett woke up just 2 weeks before the severely bound government and prisoners were put into stasis. More than 2,000, including Admiral Clark and Administrator Warren, provided valuable information about this galactic council. Lieutenant William Jackson stepped forward. His team was analyzing databases of aliens recovered from their ships and bases. Madam President, we have discovered something important, he said. Humans did not go into stasis because our world was dying. That's exactly what we told ourselves. He activated a display showing ancient star maps. Our ancestors detected alien civilizations centuries ago. The Big Sleep was a strategic decision. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this revelation. Are you saying our ancestors knew about aliens? President Bennett asked. William tied the knot. Not just knew about them. They studied them extensively. They realized that humanity was not ready for contact. We were very aggressive, very divided. The Great Sleep served two purposes. It allowed the Earth to heal itself environmentally. Yes, but it also gave our automated systems time to advance our technology while we slept. Dr. Richard Cooper, head of the Awakening Program, spoke next. This explains the accelerated awakening protocols we found. They were not just for emergencies. They were designed to quickly mobilize humanity when necessary. President Bennett addressed Admiral Sharon White, commander of the Earth Fleet. What is the status of our space capabilities? Sharon smiled slightly. Better than we thought. Hollow bases Altaz on Mars, Europa, and Titan have maintained our fleet. We have more than 300 warships ready to deploy, and more are being prepared daily. The president seemed surprised. 300? How is this possible? In the same way that the defense platforms were prepared, Sharon explained. Automated systems have been building and updating our fleet for centuries, following plans drawn up before we slept. Our ancestors prepared for this moment. In the detention center below headquarters, Greg Warren sat in his cell, still struggling to understand how everything had gone so wrong. The door opened, and Lieutenant William Jackson entered with 2 guards. The council will retaliate. Greg warned immediately. You have only seen a fraction of their power. William placed a tablet on the table. In fact, we've been looking at your databases. Advice is not as powerful as you believe. They never faced a real war, just small conflicts and police actions. Greg shook his head. You don't understand. There are hundreds of species on the council, thousands of worlds, most of which have no military experience. Guillermo countered. Their own records show that they rely primarily on intimidation and politics rather than actual force. He activated the tablet, showing Greg images of huge shipyards on Mars, hidden beneath the surface. While you were poking around in our sleeping world, you missed what was happening in other parts of our system. We have been preparing for centuries. On the other side of the solar system, the first wave of Earth's fleet emerged from hidden bases on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Ships that had never seen battle, but were designed by an inherently warlike species, with centuries of simulated combat testing. Captain Steve Rogers stood on the bridge of the flagship Defender watching as his battle group formed. 100 ships, crewed by humanity's finest, newly awakened, and eager to show the galaxy why the warnings were published. All ships report ready. Captain, your executive officer reported. Steve nodded, thinking of the old warnings that had been ignored. Red, set course for the Proxima Centauri shipyard. It's time for the council to find out why they should have let us sleep. The fleet sped towards the jump point. Humanity took the first step into a galaxy that foolishly awakened them. At the detention center, William got up to leave, but stopped at the door. Your people asked why there were warnings about us across the galaxy. You might be wondering who put them there. Greg looked up, confusion on his face. Yes, William said simply. Humans posted these warnings, knowing that someday someone would ignore them. And now we'll show your board exactly why. Chancellor Vextuturian slammed his tentacle against the council table, sending shockwaves through the assembled delegates. How is this possible? He demanded. You told me they were primitive sleepers, easy to control. Admiral Zorn, one of the few survivors of the Third Fleet disaster, had his head bowed. The information was wrong, Chancellor. Your technology far exceeds our estimates. They destroyed 23 of our ships in less than 6 minutes. The council chamber erupted in panicked voices. Representatives from 100 worlds spoke among themselves, demanding immediate action, protection, or peace negotiations. Silence. Chancellor Vexturian fired. When calm returned, he turned to his military advisors. What are our options? The chief defense coordinator, a gray-skinned being from a world of heavy gravity. Moving forward, we mobilized the main defense fleet. 500 ships are moving to protect our core worlds. We also sent notices to all research outposts and colonies near human space. Will it be enough? Someone asked. Before anyone could respond, the chamber doors opened. A communications officer rushed in, his skin pale with fear. Chancellor, we have lost contact with the Proxima Centauri shipyard. All communication has ceased. The council erupted again, this time in terror. At the Proxima Centauri shipyard, Major Christopher Lee watched the last alien defensive platform go dark. His assault force achieved complete surprise. The aliens never expected humans to have ships capable of jumping, much less the ability to launch a coordinated attack so quickly. All objectives guaranteed. Major informed his second-in-command. Casualties are minimal. The shipyard is ours. Christopher nodded, looking at the massive alien installation. The shipyard stretched for miles, with partially built vessels still tied up in construction cradles. It was the largest manufacturing center in this sector of space, capable of producing dozens of capital ships per year. Begin Phase 2, he ordered. I want our engineering teams to download everything. Ship blueprints, navigational charts, weapons specs, everything. As his troops secured the facility, Christopher received a transmission from Earth Command. General Peterson's face appeared on the screen. Status report, Major. Safe yard, sir. Minimum resistance. They were not prepared for us. The general nodded. Excellent. Your next target is the communications center in the Alpha Centauri system. Captain Rogers will rendezvous with your forces within 12 hours. On Earth, Professor Henry Brooks sat in his laboratory, surrounded by captured alien technology and historical records. As an expert on the history of pre-sleep, he was awakened specifically to understand why the aliens ignored the warnings. I found it, he told President Bennett during an emergency meeting. They knew. The council knew about the warnings. He displayed old council records recovered from captured ships. Look here. Research reports from over 3,000 years ago. They discovered our warning beacons at that time and documented them. But 200 years ago, a new faction took control of the council. They dismissed the warnings as superstition. President Bennett frowned. They knew the dangers and came anyway. Worse, said Henry. They knew we were here ecstatic and saw it as an opportunity. Their plan was to study our technology, replicate it, and establish themselves as the dominant power before we even woke up. The president's expression hardened. So they deserve what's coming to them. Throughout council space, panic spread as news of the human attacks reached distant worlds. The species that made up the Galactic Council lived in relative peace for millennia. Their conflicts were political, not military. They had forgotten what it meant to face an evolving enemy through constant warfare. The human fleet, now divided into strike groups, struck targets throughout council space. Communications centers, defensive installations, shipyards all fell with frightening efficiency. The council's impressively sized defensive fleets proved inadequate against superior human tactics and technology. On the Asterisk Defender's Bridge, Captain Steve Rogers studied the tactical display showing his next target, the primary council naval base on Sirius. They are gathering their forces. His tactical officer reported nearly 200 ships. Steve nodded, remembering Earth history lessons about ancient naval battles. They are making the same mistake that Admiral Yamamoto made at Midway. They are concentrating their forces where they think they will attack, leaving their command and communication structures vulnerable. He opened a channel to the other captains in your battle group. The change of plans was bypassing Sirius. Head to Tau Ceti, the capital of the council. It's time to end this. The Tau Ceti system glowed with the light of thousands of ships. The council gathered all available vessels to defend their capital world. They were organized into precise formations, following defensive patterns taught in their academies for generations. They never had a chance. The human fleet did not appear where expected. Instead of using the main jump point, they appeared in multiple locations simultaneously, using jump technology more advanced than anything the council possessed. Captain Steve Rogers led the main assault group directly toward the capital planet, while supporting squadrons by targeting defensive platforms and communications arrays. On the council capital world, Chancellor Vecturian was horrified when the defensive fleet fell apart under the human attack. Their ships moved in unpredictable patterns, concentrating fire on important targets before dispersing again. It wasn't just their technology that was superior. It was his thinking, his willingness to take risks that no council commander would consider. "Evacuate the council chambers," he ordered. "Prepare my ship." But it was already too late. Human forces had already secured the orbital platforms. There would be no escape. 3 hours later, Captain Steve Rogers was in the Grand Council chamber, surrounded by his officers and captured council leadership. The enormous room, designed to impress with its size and opulence, now resembled the tomb of a dying empire. "You have destroyed centuries of peace," Chancellor Vecturian said bitterly. "The council maintained order on 1,000 worlds. You violated our sovereignty," Steve responded calmly. "You ignored clear warnings and invaded our world while we slept. Did you really not expect consequences?" Before the Chancellor could respond, the chamber doors opened. Chief Diplomat Karen Phillips entered, followed by her staff. In the months since her awakening, she has studied the council records, preparing herself for this moment. "Captain Rogers," she nodded. "I'll take it from here." Karen approached the council table with a serious but not cruel expression. "I am authorized by President Bennett to offer the terms." The Chancellor's tentacles twitched in agitation. "Terms? You destroy our fleets, invade our capital, and now offer terms." "Yes," Karen said simply. "Because, unlike you, we understand the value of peace. True peace built on mutual respect, not dominance and exploitation." She activated a display showing a map of council space, with human-controlled territories clearly marked. "These sectors will now form a buffer zone between our civilizations. The council will withdraw all military forces from these regions. All research outposts studying human technology will be dismantled, and you will return any information ever collected about our people." "What if we refuse?" asked the Chancellor. Karen's expression didn't change. So Captain Rogers continues his campaign. The room fell silent as the council representatives looked at each other. They had no choice, and they knew it. A month later, General Daniel Murphy stood on the observation deck of the new human outpost on Alpha Centauri. Below him, construction ships were building Earth's first official colony in another star system. It was the beginning of humanity's expansion in the galaxy. His communications officer approached. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from Earth. President Bennett is about to address the people." On billions of screens across the Earth and in the newly created colonies, President Laura Bennett appeared. Behind her were the leaders of humanity's unified government. "Citizens of Earth," she began. It's been 3 months since we woke up from our great sleep. During this period, we secured our world, established control over our solar system, and made it clear to the galaxy that humanity should not be trifled with." She paused, her expression softening slightly. "But the purpose of the Great Sleep was never domination. Our ancestors foresaw a time when humanity would need to be united, when our technology would need to advance, and when our planet would need to heal. They gave us the gift of time." The camera panned back, showing a group of alien representatives standing off to the side. "Today, I am pleased to announce that 6 ancient council worlds have requested alliance with Earth. They recognize our strength, yes, but also our commitment to justice. Together, we will create a new order in this region of space, based on respect and cooperation." In the detention center below Geneva, Lieutenant William Jackson visited Greg Warren one last time. The former administrator had been cooperative, providing valuable information about the functioning of the board. "You are being released," William told him. "You will return to the council space along with the other prisoners." Greg seemed surprised, just like that, after everything that had happened.